Let's see how if this works. It's recording, it says. So, Chapter 8, Scale Factors and Measurement. We're going to do a little bit of converting today. Okay? Converting from one unit to another unit. Okay? So if you open your booklets, you have a bunch of conversion rates that I'm giving you. Okay? And it's probably a good idea to add these to your study sheets. Make it very small. Okay? So, but when I box something in with a highlighter, that is probably a good idea, a good indicator that you should have that on your study sheet. If there are sometimes a question that requires you to make conversions that are not found here, guys, I will give it to you. If there's some obscure conversion I want you to make and you're like, wait a minute, I don't have it, I probably give it to you on the question. Okay? But these are the important ones. So if you want to go from the imperial system to the metric system, right? This is imperial to metric. Anything that has meter in it is metric, right? You probably want to go into that box. The other ones, like this one on the right here, converts, right? You have a little bit of mass conversions, like kilograms to pounds. You've got a volume, right? A gallon to liters, anything like that. You just come and grab it from up here, add it to your study sheet by tomorrow. I will wait with this one right now. This is more for next year, this one right here, so I'm going to wait with that. So let's do a little bit of conversion. What do I mean? There's a particular way I would like you to show that, how to convert. And you will, if you're taking sciences, you're probably going to already know how to do this, or you might find this useful in that course next. If you want to go from miles to feet, this is what I do. Okay? I start with what I'm trying to convert, and then I'm going to multiply it by one of these conversion rates up here. Okay? So I want feet, correct? That's what I want. So I'm going to see something that relates miles and feet. So let's go up here. And where do you see that? I have 1 mile is equal to 1760 yards, but it's also equal to 5,280 feet. So miles and feet is right here. I'm going to use that one. Okay? So I will say that 1 mile has 5,280 feet. And here's the important part. There's a very specific reason why I put the miles in the denominator here, because I have miles in the numerator for the other one. And my goal, when something is in the numerator and in the denominator, you can cancel those units out. And all you're left with is feet, right? So today, I'm just going to allow you to use your calculator or anything, your phones if you want to do the calculation. But some of you, has anybody noticed that I have these fancy calculators up here? You've looked at them already? Tomorrow you're going to get, each of you gets one of these. You got to protect them. They're worth a lot of money. So if you don't get it back at the end of the semester, it's $150 or so to replace it. So treat it with love, okay? So you're gonna go 200 times 5,280. Okay, you're gonna multiply that, and you're left with, I'm gonna do it down here, 1056 and 3 zeros, and that is in feet. Okay, so this is your final answer. That's how many feet are in 200 miles. Let's do one more. Let's try to go from millimeters to inches here. Way down here. So you start with that, 27.45 millimeters. And again, you want to go to inches. Do you have something that connects inches and millimeters by any chance? Up there. Check it. I'm actually asking. Do you have anything that relates millimeters and inches? And the answer is no, but you've got inches and centimeters, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to use that to get me started. Sorry, I'm going to turn this into centimeters first. Sorry. I'm still getting into the school mode, guys. I'm going to turn, because I have something that gets me from centimeters to inches. Sorry, up here, way up here. I have this. Okay, I could go from centimeters to inches, but I'm going to instead go first from centimeter, or sorry, from millimeters to centimeters. I'm going to use this one first. So here we go. I know that 1 centimeter has 10 millimeters, and I'm doing this the long way. I know some of you can probably do it quicker than that. But this millimeter here cancels out with the millimeter there. So that's good. Now we're effectively in centimeters. Okay? So I'm going to do one more conversion where I know that 1 inch has 2.54 centimeters. And there's another cancellation that will happen, right? Centimeters and centimeters are canceled. I like highlighters. If you can have at least 2 or 3 different colors, maybe even 4, it really stands out when you review your notes. Okay? So now you've canceled out the centimeters and the millimeters, so now you're left with this. Okay, I usually rush through this and it bites me back later. Can I ask you to make sure when you do your calculations, because there won't always be ones here, okay? Multiply across the numerator. Multiply everything that's in the numerator and put that down first. And I know this is going to look silly, right? 27.45 times 1 times 1, okay? And you get 27.45 inches. And in the denominator, what do you have? You've got 10 and 2.54, correct? So you go 10 times 2.54, and I know some of you are doing this in your heads right now. That's fine. But these numbers are going to be bigger and uglier down the road. 25.4, okay? And now, before you answer, because a lot of students do this right, but they get their final answer wrong for some reason. So I'm going to go 27.45 divided by 25.4. Once I've multiplied the numerator and the denominator, and I get 1.08. Okay? We round to 2 decimals for our final answer. So you can write this if you want, dot, 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 right? That's technically what we got, but at the very end, we want a 2 decimal answer. So you've converted the millimeters to inches like that, okay? And to save ourselves a little bit of time, I will just give you this one here for next time. Next time around, this is a little bit too much work, in my opinion, for something that is actually simpler. We're going to go up here, and I'm just going to add to this. I'm going to say equals 1 inch. I got to get used to this new setup. 1 inch has this many centimeters, but also has 25.40 millimeters. Okay? That would have saved us all that extra work if we could have just used the 1 inch has 25.40 millimeters. Okay? That would have made it a lot easier for us. So sometimes I will add a few things here and there. Another one I can think of right now, okay? This is a freebie, this is a bonus. 1 gallon has 3.79 liters. But given that 1 liter has 1,000 milliliters, we also know that it's 3790 milliliters, right? So sometimes adding that will make your lives a lot easier and quicker to make conversions if needed. Okay, so maybe just add this to your work. And I do say there are multiple ways of arriving to your answer here, but just make sure you show your work. I know some of you have had different teachers in the past and they showed it to you differently. I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to be done exactly the way I showed you. Just show your work and I will figure it out, okay? What are we time-wise? 10:14. Okay. I think what I'm going to ask you to do, I think I'm going to leave it at this for today in terms of, so I'm just going to ask you to do a few questions for homework. Go to page 13, okay? And I'm just going to ask you to do A to H, just these ones here. So homework, question 1, A to H. Looks like an N, right? Make sure it's an H. And just to make sure, I actually will write this down on where we took the notes so that when you go through it and you want extra practice, you can do that. Question 1, A to H. And then we'll do more tomorrow. I know that I don't like to go right till the bell if I can help it, because then you're scrambling to go to your next class, and I probably lost you already anyways. You're thinking of how you're going to get to your next class, so that's it.